The egg brands most families trust the most are the ones with the biggest gap between what the label says and what's actually inside. We went through 10 of the biggest names in the egg aisle: lab testing, USDA records, a federal investigation, and the finding that kept coming up: the premium cartons, the ones with pasture photos and organic seals and happy hen branding, were delivering the same egg as the cheap one sitting right below them on the shelf. Same nutrition, same profile, same everything. Just a different story on the outside. One brand costs $11 and triggered a federal investigation. You already know the name. 10 brands ranked worst to best, and 2 that are actually worth buying. Let's get into it. Number 10. Roger and Kirkland. This is the middle ground purchase. You're not grabbing the cheapest carton. You're not paying the specialty premium. You're buying a name you already trust and spending $1 or $2 more because it feels like the right call. Here's what cage-free actually means. The cage is removed. That's the only change. Everything else stays exactly the same. Hens live on open floors in buildings packed with as many birds as regulations allow. No outdoor access, no natural light. Each bird gets roughly the floor space of a sheet of printer paper. The Kirkland name carries real trust built through years of quality across dozens of categories. But that trust was earned through olive oil and electronics, not eggs. The egg operation didn't earn it. The name just carried over. You paid more for cage-free. The cage is the only thing that changed. Number 9, Christopher Eggs. This one sounds like someone made a careful health decision on your behalf. Vegetarian-fed hens, no animal byproducts, pure plant-based feed, clean and intentional. One problem: chickens are not vegetarians. They never have been. In the wild, hens spend their day hunting insects, grubs, and worms. That animal protein is where the nutrition in the egg actually comes from. The omega-3s, the B12, the amino acids. Take it away and you don't get a cleaner egg. You get a less nutritious one. A vegetarian-fed label is being sold as a health upgrade. Nutritionally, it's the opposite. Crack one open and look at the yolk. Pale and watery. A healthy yolk is deep orange, almost amber. That color comes from real foraging on real food. Pale means the nutrition the label implied isn't in the egg. The label did its job at the store. The egg didn't do its job in your body. Number 8. Walmart Great Value. No farm name, no illustration, no certification, just a price low enough that you don't ask how it got there. Here's how. Battery cages at industrial scale. 67 square inches of space per bird. That's the federal legal minimum, less than a sheet of printer paper for an animal's entire life. Walmart sources from facilities that meet that minimum and nothing more, because that's the cheapest way to produce the cheapest egg. Families buying these on a tight budget aren't doing anything wrong. When everything else is $6 and this carton is $3.99, the price decides for you. That's not a personal failure. That's just how the system is built. What makes Great Value different from the other brands on this list is that it doesn't pretend. No farm story, no seal, no certification that couldn't be honestly given because none was attempted. The carton is blank because the truth wouldn't help sell it. That's not an accident. That's the strategy. Number 7, Happy Egg Co. Bright yellow carton, cartoon hens. The name itself is the entire pitch. Happy Egg Co. Right where a real farm name or sourcing claim would go. Parents grab this one for their kids. The smiling hen feels safe and warm. Nothing about it tells you to flip the carton over and read the back. Here's what free range actually means under federal law. 2 square feet of outdoor access per bird. Less than a sheet of printer paper. And that access just has to exist somewhere in the building. One small door in a facility housing tens of thousands of hens satisfies the legal requirement. Most hens never find it. Most never go outside once in their lives. The label still says free range. Crack one open. The yolk is pale yellow, not the deep orange you'd see from a hen that actually forages outside. Pale yellow is what confinement looks like. The packaging just makes it invisible. Your kids are eating a standard factory egg every morning. The cartoon made it feel like something better. Keep watching because from here, the price points go up, the labels get more convincing, and the gap between what's promised and what's actually in the egg gets harder to spot. Number 6, Nellie's Free Range. Nellie's gets the packaging right in a way most egg brands only partially manage. Hand-drawn illustrations in warm earthy tones. A hen with a name, a character who genuinely feels like she belongs on a family operation somewhere in rural New England, surrounded by open space and fresh air. A humane certification badge displayed prominently on the front panel that looks exactly like an independent third-party guarantee. Like someone visited those farms and issued an official finding. The organization that awarded that humane badge operates under standards that fall significantly below what most shoppers picture when they read the word humane on a food label. Free range on the Nellie's carton means outdoor access exists somewhere on the property. It doesn't mean the majority of hens in that facility ever use it. It doesn't mean the outdoor area is proportional in size to the number of birds housed inside. A family choosing Nellie's specifically because they want the humane option is trusting a certification that was selected, at least in part, because its requirements are achievable at the scale Nellie's operates. A more rigorous certification standard would demand more substantive changes to the farming model. Those changes cost money. That cost either compresses the business's margins or raises the retail price. Neither outcome serves the operation. So the certification that fits the existing model is the one that goes on the carton, and the shopper in the aisle reads humane and feels like the hard work of choosing is done. Run your thumb across a Nellie's carton while you're standing in the store. The recycled material has a texture that communicates premium quality through touch alone, before a single word gets read. That tactile experience is part of what's being sold here. The physical sensation of having made the right choice for your family. That feeling is real. The farming behind it is more complicated than the packaging suggests. You paid for the feeling. The egg inside didn't fully match it. Number 5. Safeway and Albertsons Omega-3. This is the most technically precise gap between label and reality on this entire list. Not because the claim is false, but because it's technically accurate and functionally negligible at the same time. And that specific combination, true on paper, nearly meaningless in practice, is the most dangerous thing a food label can do to a shopper who genuinely did their homework before choosing. Athletes reach for these. Anyone whose doctor specifically told them to increase their omega-3 intake looks at the carton with omega-3 printed on the front and makes a deliberate, informed purchase decision. These aren't careless shoppers guessing in the aisle. These are people who read the label carefully and acted on what it said. They did everything right. Here's what the label didn't tell them. The omega-3 in these eggs comes from flaxseed added to hen feed. Flaxseed contains ALA, alpha-linolenic acid. ALA is a plant-based omega-3. Before your body can use ALA for inflammation reduction, cardiovascular protection, or brain function, the specific outcomes these shoppers are trying to manage, it has to convert ALA into DHA and EPA. Those are the two forms the human body can actually deploy for those purposes. The human body's conversion rate from ALA to usable DHA is under 10%. Under 10%. A single serving of wild-caught salmon delivers more bioavailable omega-3 than a full month of these specialty eggs consumed daily. The omega-3 on the label is real. The amount your body can actually convert into something it can use is negligible. A diabetic who chose these eggs because their doctor said to increase omega-3 intake is not getting a meaningful increase in anything their body can deploy for cardiovascular protection. They're getting a label that told the truth about what's in the egg and said absolutely nothing about what your body can actually do with it. You read that label carefully. The label wasn't written carefully for you. Number 4, Eggland's Best, that red seal stamped directly onto the shell of the egg itself, not just printed on the outside of the carton. You carry it all the way home, pull the egg out, and the certification mark is right there in your hand. Eggland's Best put their mark on the actual egg because they understood something important. A mark on the product doesn't feel like a logo. It feels like a guarantee. It feels like someone independent stood between that farm and your kitchen and personally verified what you're about to feed your family. That someone is Eggland's Best. Their certification program, their standards, their audit process. From the design of the criteria to the issuance of the seal, every single step is controlled by the company whose product is being certified. No independent third-party body created the standard. No government agency verifies what the mark means in practice. The red seal is a logo, Eggland's best own logo designed by them, awarded by them, stamped onto their own eggs through a process they manage entirely from beginning to end. The people who reach for this carton most consistently are seniors managing cardiovascular conditions and people with diabetes tracking their diet with genuine precision. The red seal tells them someone checked. Someone stood between the production facility and the consumer and confirmed the quality was there. That someone is the company collecting payment at the register. The feed modification is real. Specific nutrients are added to hen feed in a way that does measurably boost certain levels in the final egg. But independent examination of the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, the number most directly connected to inflammation management and cardiovascular outcomes, the specific conditions the people buying this carton are actively trying to protect themselves against, doesn't show results that justify the premium over a standard conventional egg. Put an Eggland's Best egg next to a regular grocery store egg and look at the yolk side by side before you cook either one. The difference you're paying for isn't visible because it isn't there. Number 3, Born Free and Organic Valley built genuine trust over genuine decades through their dairy operation. Real farmer cooperatives with real governance, real accountability structures that created meaningful separation between what they were doing and what conventional industrial agriculture was doing. That history is not invented. That reputation was earned through butter, through milk, through a founding story that was true when it was first told. It doesn't transfer to eggs. Born Free eggs and Organic Valley eggs sit in the premium section of natural food retailers, positioned right next to the butter and milk that built the Organic Valley name over 30 years. Families who've trusted the cooperative model with their dairy purchases look at the egg carton carrying the same branding and make what feels like a completely logical extension. If the butter is this carefully made, the eggs must be too. That extension is exactly what the brand depends on. It's not something the egg operation independently earned. The foundation of the label here is cage-free, and cage-free at cooperative scale is still industrial scale. The physical cage is gone. The crowding is not. Hens in these facilities live on open floors in buildings that can house hundreds of thousands of birds. No outdoor access required for the certification. No natural light requirement. No welfare specification that goes meaningfully beyond the removal of a physical cage structure. The Organic Valley story was built by dairy farmers making a principled stand against industrial agriculture. The egg supply chain is a separate operation entirely. Different facilities, different conditions, a different reality on the ground. Trust is the most valuable thing a food brand can accumulate over time. Spending it on a product that didn't independently earn it is the most invisible form of deception on this list, because it never asks you to believe anything new. It just lets you keep believing something old that was true in a different category. Number 2, Pete and Jerry's a hand-drawn farmhouse, rolling hills in the background. The word organic in a clean, simple font that communicates trustworthiness in under 3 seconds. Pete and Jerry's built one of the most credible-looking packages in the entire egg aisle, and the people reaching for it most consistently are the ones who did the most research before walking into that store. Pregnant women choose this one. Families making careful choices for their children choose this one. Anyone who spent real time reading about egg label definitions and concluded that organic was the standard worth paying for, they reach for Pete and Jerry's. And that's exactly the problem. Here's what organic certification actually requires on an egg carton under federal law. The hens must be given a feed grown without synthetic pesticides. That is the complete legal obligation. That's everything. The entire scope of what the USDA organic seal is certifying when it appears on that carton. What organic certification does not require: any outdoor access, any meaningful floor space per bird, any cap on how many hens share a single building, any requirement that a hen ever see natural light or exhibit a single behavior she would naturally choose if given the option. A hen can spend her entire life in severe indoor confinement, never step outside, never forage, never dust bathe, never experience anything resembling the environment her biology was built for, And her eggs still qualify for the USDA organic seal, as long as the grain in her feed was grown without synthetic chemicals. That's not what most shoppers think they're paying for when they see that seal. Pete and Jerry's doesn't source from the single farm shown on the carton. It sources from a network of contracted farms spread across multiple facilities. The hand-drawn farmhouse is a design choice. The eggs come from many places that illustration was never meant to honestly represent. The omega-3 profile in eggs from hens living under confinement reflects that confinement, regardless of what the feed certification says about pesticide use. Hens that don't move, don't forage, and don't access any environment resembling what their biology evolved for don't produce eggs with the nutritional density the premium price implies. A pregnant woman paying extra because she genuinely believes organic means better for her developing child is making a decision based on a legal definition that was never written to protect her. The organic label told her about the grain in the feed. It said nothing about the egg. Number 1, Vital Farms. The industry called them the gold standard. Food publications call them the gold standard. 3 years of $11 cartons and some of the most sophisticated agricultural marketing in American retail history made millions of health-conscious families believe they had finally found the egg brand that was actually telling the truth. Pasture-raised on the label, rolling green fields in every advertisement, hens with room to forage, space to move, access to the kind of environment a chicken is biologically meant to live in. That was the promise Vital Farms spent years and a significant marketing budget building its entire identity around. And it was the most expensive promise in the aisle. Then video footage surfaced from supplier farms. What that footage showed didn't look like the imagery the brand had spent years circulating: crowded conditions, industrial-scale housing. The gap between the pastoral photography on the carton and the documented reality at supplier farms wasn't a minor difference in aesthetics. It was a fundamental contradiction between what the brand said it was and what the supply chain was actually producing. The FTC opened a formal investigation into whether Vital Farms' pasture-raised claims met the legal definition of what that phrase is supposed to guarantee. That investigation didn't emerge from nowhere. It came from a pattern of accumulated evidence pointing consistently in the same direction. And then the lab results landed. Independent nutritional testing placed Vital Farms eggs side by side with conventional eggs at a third of the price. Omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, yolk density, measurable nutrient content the human body can absorb and use. The numbers weren't meaningfully different. The $11 egg and the $3.99 egg were delivering the same nutritional outcome to the families eating them every single morning. 3 years, $11 per carton. Families who chose Vital Farms specifically because they believed the premium reflected a genuinely superior product. Eggs farmed differently, from hens living differently, producing something measurably better. We're paying for a story, not a better egg. A story. The story was beautifully constructed. The photography was exceptional. The language was chosen with real care. It wasn't true, and it cost more than any other claim on this list. Best number 2. Alexander Family Farm. Now that you know what to avoid, here are the 2 that actually held up. Best option number 2, Alexander Family Farm. This is what the egg industry was supposed to look like. Alexander Family Farm operates on certified regenerative organic land in Northern California. The farming model isn't structured around what regulations minimally allow. It's structured around what the animals actually need to live the way their biology was designed for, and that distinction shows up in the egg in a way you can see before you even cook it. Cows and chickens share the same rotating pasture in a system where each species genuinely benefits from the presence of the other. The hens follow the cattle, foraging through grazed grass and eating the insects, grubs, and varied natural food sources that a chicken's digestive system was built to process. That's not a welfare gesture or a marketing detail. That's a specific nutritional input that produces a measurably different egg. Crack an Alexander egg and look at the yolk before you do anything else with it. Deep orange, almost amber. That color isn't cosmetic. It's not a dye or a feed additive engineered to signal premium quality at the point of sale. It's carotenoids. It's omega-3 compounds. It's the visible result of a hen eating the diet her biology evolved around. living in conditions that let her actually behave like a chicken is supposed to behave. Independent lab testing has placed Alexander eggs among the highest measured for omega-6 to omega-3 ratio of any commercially available egg in the American market. That ratio is the number most directly connected to inflammation response in cardiovascular health, the specific outcomes that justify paying more for an egg in the first place. The premium here is real because the farming behind it is real. The yolk will show you that before you even taste it. Best number 1, local CSA eggs. Best option number 1, local CSA eggs. The most reliable egg carton available has a farm name on it. You can look up on a map. It comes from an operation small enough that the label and the reality are the same thing, because the farmer knows personally how many birds are living on how many acres. And there simply aren't enough supply chain layers between the farm and your kitchen to separate the claim from the ground it was made on. Local CSA eggs and small-scale pasture-certified producers work differently from every single brand covered today. They can't hide at scale because they don't operate at scale. The hens are outside. You can drive past the property and see them. The farmer can tell you the acreage, the stocking density, the breed, and what those hens were eating last week without hesitation, without a PR department, because they were actually there. Find your nearest farmer's market. Find the egg vendor. Ask one simple question. How many birds per acre do you run? A genuine pasture operation will answer that immediately, specifically, and without any visible discomfort. A producer running industrial conditions under a pasture label won't have a clean answer because a specific, honest answer would directly contradict the label they're selling under. The omega profile in eggs from hens with real outdoor access reflects that access directly. You'll see it in the yolk color before you taste the egg. Deep orange every time. And if you want to go even further, the economics of backyard chicken keeping are genuinely worth running. Setup costs spread across 5 years of production put clean, genuinely pasture-raised eggs at under $2 per dozen. Backyard chicken search interest has been at a 5-year high. The people behind those searches already reached the same conclusion this investigation confirms. The label on a carton is a promise. A backyard flock is a fact. If this changed how you're going to shop next time, share it with someone who still has a premium carton on their shelf and doesn't yet know what the label actually means. 10 brands, 2 that deliver, 1 decision that starts with your next trip to the store. Vital Farms built the most expensive story in the aisle, and an FTC investigation followed the evidence. Pete and Jerry's placed the word organic on a carton sourced from a network of farms. The farmhouse illustration never honestly disclosed in a certification system that covers the grain in the feed and says nothing about how the hen actually lives. Born Free and Organic Valley spent cooperative trust that 3 decades of dairy farming built on an egg operation that cage-free certification at industrial scale produced. Eggland's Best designed a seal, stamped it onto a shell, and called it independent verification. Nellie's chose a humane certification achievable at their existing operating scale and printed it on packaging that communicates premium quality through texture before a single word gets read. The omega-3 house brands at Safeway and Albertsons listed ALA content on the label and let the people who specifically needed DHA and EPA believe they were getting something their body could actually use. Happy Egg Co. put a smiling cartoon on a yellow carton and let a legally compliant door somewhere in a building full of confined hens do the rest. Christopher Eggs called a nutritionally incomplete diet a health upgrade. Walmart built its entire sourcing model on the federal legal minimum because anything beyond it would raise the price. Kroger and Kirkland removed the cage, left everything else exactly in place, and called it the responsible choice. You now know what every one of those labels actually means in practice, under federal law, and in terms of what ends up in your body after breakfast. The egg that genuinely delivers what a premium price is supposed to imply has a deep orange yolk. It comes from a hen that forages on actual pasture. It comes from a farm where the claim on the carton and the reality on the ground are the same thing because the operation is too small and too transparent for them to be anything else. Alexandria Family Farm produces that egg commercially. Your nearest local pasture-based producer produces it too. The yolk will be darker. The price will reflect something real. And for the first time, What's printed on the carton will actually match what's inside it. The egg industry built its entire business model on the certainty that most shoppers never look past the label. Today, you did. If this investigation changed the way you look at the labels in your grocery aisle, please subscribe and like the video. We are uncovering the truths that big industries have tried to hide. Let's nourish a better future together. Our next deep dive into the secrets of the food system will be opening soon.